In a playoff, the fourth playoff hole, Hideki Matsuyama is the winner of the Waste Management Phoenix Open. He is the first Japanese-born player to reach 4 PGA Tour victories, the first Japanese-born player to go back-to-back at the same event. Hideki wins it again here in Scottsdale.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
It is the calm after the storm. The stands are empty at 16. No need anymore to check the decibel levels. For the second consecutive year, Hideki Matsuyama has wowed the crowd here in Scottsdale, Arizona, en route to another victory on the PGA Tour, cementing his place inside the top 5 of the official World Golf Ranking and cementing his spot as one of the great players to look at as we make our way through this 2017 PGA Tour campaign into the major championship year as well. Brandel Chambly, Aaron Oberholzer, and Steve Sands, pleased to be alongside here at the 16th hole, which is very quiet right now. Let's go right to the highlights and show you how Hideki got it done, and man, was it exciting here on Sunday. Here's the defending champion. Third hole, Brandel, par 5, his second shot from 254.
Well, he took a big chunk out of this hole off of the tee, and then just a towering iron and using the slope to the right of the green. This is a veteran move. Of course, he's only played here 3 times previously. His scoring average was 67 and change. With shots like that, you can see why. That led to an eagle.
What about Ben An? He had, Aaron, the 1-shot lead going into the final round. He had a 3-shot lead at this point on 11.
Yeah, and these were the holes that I thought that he needed to be careful with. 10, 11, 12, and bogey at 10. And then here finds the water on 11. Just a little bit of a pull. Cut, did not cut, and that would also end up in bogey.
16 under par, only a 1-shot lead at that point. Matsuyama now, Brando, at 13, the par 5 second shot.
We never stop talking about how the best players separate themselves from everybody else. Well, this is where they separate themselves. From about 175 yards to 250 yards, high towering long irons. It's worked for Tiger, and it's working for Hideki Matsuyama.
How about a birdie putt, 16 under, tied for the lead now. At 15, the defending champion with a 5-iron.
And just chewed up the par 5s this week. His par 4 play was solid, but his par 5 play was stellar. And yet hit another iron and yet another par 5. And didn't like the shot exactly, or the swing, but it ended up just fine. 2-putt
birdie. He had a 1-shot lead. On, though, at 15, his 3rd shot, Brandon, from 86 yards.
Well, we talked about it this morning. If he got quick in transition, he was going to miss some shots. He was missing some fairways, but he had a wedge into the 15th hole, trying to rebound, get back atop this leaderboard. And after that gorgeous wedge shot, you'd thought that was a gimme.
That was 3 feet. Would have grabbed the lead right back from Hideki into a share of it, but no, he's one back at that point. What about Webb Simpson? Webb Simpson, where are you coming from?
Out of nowhere is where he's coming from. Didn't mention this guy 1 ounce, and yet just quietly crept up the board all day.
It's a birdie at 17 to get to 16 under par. What about his second, Brandel, at 18?
Well, he looked a little quick, but you know, these guys are so talented. They can save it with a quick flip at the bottom. He does sort of a draw. You know, at his best, he was the best out here in an all-around statistic back in 2012, 2011.
He birdies 3 of his last 4, Brandel, to get to 17 under. Now Hideki.
Great look here.
Separation didn't do it, Aaron.
Unbelievable. Great look there. Thought he could get it. That was about as easy a look as you're going to get on 17.
Webb just keeping loose with his caddy Paul Tesori, making sure if they get to a playoff that he's ready to play. So at the 18th, here's Hideki for the win.
Almost identical length putts that both of these players had from a little different line. This looked good for a long time.
Brandel, how does that not go in? Look at where that ball ends up.
It's taking a peek over the edge is what it's doing.
Oh my gosh, look at him.
Well, straight downhill, straight down grain, and the valley was just beyond the 18th hole. Everything going in his favor, but it heads into a playoff.
For the second consecutive year, the playoff was in Hideki Matsuyama, but not Ricky Fowler this time. It's Webb Simpson, now putting for birdie.
He knows this putt, Steve.
First playoff hole.
Putt.
Doesn't make it from 21 feet. He makes par. Take another look. You know, he doesn't show a lot of emotion on the golf course, but through the latter stages of this event, he certainly did. Now Webb Simpson putting for birdie and the win. Nah, never had a chance. Leaves it short from 17 feet, makes par. Go to the second playoff hole. Matsuyama, third shot. What'd you think of this, Aaron?
I thought it was fantastic. Brandel and I were talking about it, and Brandel mentioned how good his pitching has become, and you could see evidence of it right there. Just a gorgeous motion through the ball and just barely clipping the grass.
Makes par. Now Simpson again, Brandel, with a chance to win at 18.
Similar putt, just a little bit of a different line. And it runs out of gas, breaks to the left, and of course Hideki Matsuyama then trying to save par would make it, extend the playoff.
To the third playoff hole we go, and that's the 10th. Simpson for birdie in the win.
A fantastic look here, and 3 for 3, leaving the putt short, Steve. You can't do that.
That close to his first victory since the U.S. Open in 2012 at Olympic Club. Now the fourth playoff hole at 17. Tough spot for Webb off the tee.
Well, absolutely. He put it in no man's land. Essentially, from a geographical standpoint, it's like he was in Austin, Texas. He had to go to Kansas City before he could go to New York City. Will be continued. A little pit stop there. He would miss the putt. But the good news is he gave Hideki Matsuyama the perfect line.
And he took advantage. So Hideki Matsuyama, just like last year, wins it on the fourth playoff hole, which happens to be the 17th hole on the golf course. Last year he did it with a par over Ricky Fowler. This time he does it with a birdie over Webb Simpson. So now Hideki Matsuyama, guys, has the most victories of anybody on the PGA Tour who comes from the great country of Japan. Let's go right down to the ground. Steve Burkowski caught up with the winner alongside his interpreter, Bob Turner.
History repeats itself here in Scottsdale. Hideki, once again a winner, a 4-hole playoff. How eerily similar was this week to what you did here a year ago?
そうですね。ピンポジションは全然違いますけど、でもやっぱり去年よりは内容的には苦しかったですけど、勝つことができて嬉しいなと思います。
What were the emotions like? I'm sorry, Bob. Help me out.
No, it did go. You know, it went 4 holes, and it was a struggle all the way around. The same 17th hole, but the pin position was different from last year.
What were the emotions like? The chance to win it in regulation, and then more and more opportunities to finish it off.
そうですね。本当になかなか決めることができなかったんですけど、このまま続ければね、必ず、チャンスは来ると思ってたんで、最後にね、迎えれてよかったなと思います。
Yeah, I just, had faith and believed that, my chance would come again, and I, just waited and waited, had patience, and finally that last one went in.
5 wins in your last 10 events worldwide. How good is the golf you are playing right now?
いい感じで来てると思うので、これからもね、続けていけるように頑張りたいなと思います。
Yeah, hopefully I can just keep riding this as long as I can.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Winning on the PGA Tour in back-to-back fashion at the same event is not easy. Doing it in a playoff is incredibly rarefied air. Sony Open in Hawaii at Wailai. Ernie Els in 2003 and 2004, the last man to do it. Hideki Matsuyama is starting to get into some really serious company with some of the things he's accomplishing on the PGA Tour. All right, fellas, where does this put Hideki Matsuyama now in your spectrum as far as what we see out there in the world's greatest golfers?
Well, if you were looking for little holes in his golf game, there were a few. He wasn't the best around the greens, and over the last 2 or 3 years, he hasn't been the best on the greens. Everybody always says when someone has a run like this, they'll say, what happened? What's the difference? The difference with him has been what he's been doing around, and particularly on the greens. About 3-4 months ago, he got help from a fellow Japanese player by the name of Hiroshi Iwata, who gave him this device to help him line up his putts. From that moment to this moment, he hasn't been brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but this week he had 72 putts inside of 10 feet. He made 68 of them. You saw him miss the green in the second playoff hole. Great chip shot to about 3 feet, then great up and down on the next playoff hole, and then the up and down on the fourth playoff hole. Can't tell you how difficult that pitch is. You could have pitched it in the water. You could have left it almost in the bunker. To get it about 10, 12 feet away, and then to follow through with that putt. He has completed the full cycle, and he does not have a single weakness in his game at this point.
He does not, Brandel, and I believe we're watching the evolution of what will be a phenomenal player from Japan, if not the best ever from Japan. You almost might be able to call him that at this point. with the most wins on the biggest tour, on the biggest stage in the world. I think sky's the limit. He was very humble in what he said there. He just wants to ride the wave. I think he can do a lot more than that, than just ride the wave with his ability. If he can stay healthy, which I think is always the biggest things for a lot of these guys with these modern golf swings, if they can stay healthy and he can continue to play the way he's playing, he's going to be the first Japanese-born player to win a major championship. There's no doubt about it with his iron play. His iron play this year, just to give you an idea, the longest putt he made this week, 16 feet 9 inches. That's how good, and second in proximity. This is one of the hardest golf courses on the PGA Tour in proximity. He was second in that category, and the longest putt he made and still winning the golf tournament was 16 feet 9 inches. That's how good he hit the ball this week with his iron.
So many guys set the bar high. First with Tiger Woods. Jordan Spieth wins early. Rory wins early. These guys are winning so early. Talk about the progression that he's made. It's almost like a normal progression, if you will, in this sport at this level, to be win, chip, and then get to this point where he can now put his foot on the pedal and try to go after some more.
I don't think it's normal. I would argue it's not normal. It's abnormal. I mean, the normal progression to success on the PGA Tour is you come out with an immense amount of talent and you get knocked up or knocked down, beat up, and you earn your way. I mean, this is the school of knocks, and by the time you're 27, 28, you look at Ricky Fowler, that's more the norm. You come out with all this amazing talent, and 4 or 5 years down the road, you eventually learn how to win. What Jordan Spieth has done, Rory McIlroy has done, Tiger Woods have done, that is abnormal. It takes an immense amount of confidence and talent to come out at that early age and make a mark in the game, and it just speaks volumes about what's ahead for Hideki Matsuyama.
I guess what I meant was it's more normal than what those other three guys meant. You guys are the ones that are supposed to say things that are normal and abnormal, not me. What I meant was it's just not the way those guys did it. It seems like the more normal progression, like you said with Ricky Fowler. Either way, Hideki Matsuyama is playing fabulous golf. 5 wins in his last 9 worldwide starts. Congratulations to the Japanese sensation, Hideki Matsuyama, winner again here in Scottsdale. Plenty of golf to show you, including some of the great things that happened at 16, the wildest hole on the PGA Tour. Always nice to see Big Bird in the house. What about Sergio Garcia? He got another win on the European Tour, his 12th of his career. He did it at the Omega Dubai Desert Classic. Highlights from that desert when we come back.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. GolfAdvisor.com Best of lists. We didn't make the lists, you did.